So I just got Betty White back to the house after the Grand Slam, and I'm not talking about the Denny's breakfast. I'm talking about me eating shit harder than anybody should on an electric pit bike. How hard was that accident, Kevin? Thank you for asking. The subframe has been. Go to your RTR or RTR Lite right now, grab this thick ass steel and try and bend it with your hand, and you'll realize how hard this bike cartwheeled. These bars were aligned with the forks. I went zip, cannonballed over the front, ejecto-cedo cuz 25 miles an hour, no brakes involved, hit that rain rut, did a little flip. Thus far, it looks like the subframe being bent is the only damage on the bike. I'm astonished I didn't get a pinch flat or some kind of bent spokes. No fork damage. Bike's dirty from getting plastered into an oblivion. Forgive any what noise you might hear as the battery is unplugged from the bike, currently charging. But the biggest problem here is that the bike doesn't run. I'm getting a M error, which I'm assuming is motor. It doesn't really feel like it's free spinning very smoothly, so I did lubricate the chain. So unfortunately, we did not get away scot-free on damage. Yes, the subframe is a little bit bent, however, it is not damaged enough to require replacing. If you do require replacement of the subframe, it is 2 bolts on each side, and it is a readily available replacement part, as is every bit, bolt, and piece of hardware on this bike. This is bent, but I physically cannot, using all my strength, bend it back, so there's still structural integrity there, and I kind of like how it is now. It provides more of a grab bar than having it up underneath the fender. We have a pretty big issue. The bike actually is not currently running.
When did you get the clapper? November 1964. Dutch East Indies, shore leave.
You turn it on, stroke the key one time. Well, it's not there now, but if I give her a little throttle, give her a little juice, so it'll lurch forward for a second, and it's giving me this M, or motor. Can you focus on that? Thank you so much. So the motor's completely tapped. It's seized up, it's locked up. It'll lurch forward for 1 second, and then just go completely dead and give me that M error. So I'm assuming the motor's completely tapped, and that's gonna be for one of 2 reasons. The first one being the crash, the impact. So I guess technically it could have also jammed up the motor or broken it somehow. That doesn't really make much sense because people crash the shit out of these things and the motor really doesn't get jacked up that often. What I think happened was it was a very hot day, 95 degrees. The bike kept cutting off from heat and I would just override it, turn it off, turn it back on, keep riding. I might have just overheated the stock motor, hot Florida weather. So what I did is what every logical person does when a part breaks, use it as an excuse to upgrade. So I got the $350 mod motor, which I was going to do anyway, because it has 30 degrees Celsius higher operating temperature and it gives you more torque for better acceleration. And it's only $350, which I find incredibly reasonable for a motor upgrade. Usually on like Surons or any kind of e-ripper, a motor's a lot more expensive than $350. Even their controllers and batteries are also pretty reasonably priced. The 3 power upgrades for this bike. Yeah, she doesn't run right now. I cannot stop spending money on this beautiful little clapper, the bike that's currently not running, and rather than just getting repair parts or taking the free warranty option, I'd like to go ahead and take the opportunity to upgrade. That's how I've always done it. Something breaks on the bike, rather than replacing it with the factory OEM stocker, hop an upgrade on that B word, why don't you? But the way I'm doing it is quite stupid because I'm doing my orders in little bursts. If you've ever heard the term William Shatner texting, it's like when somebody texts and then 3 seconds later continues the sentence instead of just having one big block. The phrase has been coined or tokened because of the actor William Shatner that has historically been known to pause in between his words. Just like I've been known to place an order for some accessories and then the next day be like, oh fuck, I also want a chain. And then a few days later be like, I want to get my stock seat reupholstered with additional gel and foam and custom embroidery, but I don't want to be seatless, so I'm gonna need a stocker as well. Probably would have saved me a little bit of money on tax and shipping to bundle all of these upgrades into one big order. The high-rise bars and the 14-inch street wheels are already installed on the bike. You might be wondering, 2 upgraded chains? Why, Kevin? One of them is the universal length for the larger sprocket that comes with the 14-inch tires, and the other one is the factory RTR length, which is going to pair with the ultra lightweight sprocket. So when I do run the standard 12-inch pit bike knobbies that come on the bike, I will have an ultra light sprocket and more durable, less stretchy chain. I did also buy the headlight kit so I can ride around at night without feeling feeling like I'm about to smoke a possum or something. The mod motor, I was offered a warranty replacement as my bike had around 100 miles when my stock motor did fail. I was punishing and pummeling on it, to be honest. I was running it rather hot, and then I did get into a little bit of an impact, an accident. However, neither of those should really total or smoke a brand new electric motor. Electro Co has offered me a replacement stock motor or 30% off the upgraded mod motor, which I was already going to pop for anyway, so saving a couple of shekels on that. No brainer, and I have no brain, so that makes sense. Why the extra battery plastics? Did you crack them in the crash? No, I did not. But I want these black side pieces for whenever I run any darker colored plastics, such as gray or black. But when I have the white plastics on, which will be 95% of the time, I'm gonna paint or rattle can the side battery covers matte white, which I think will look really good. These are $13 a pop. With shipping, came out to $36 for a set. It is $100 for a stock seat. Tax and shipping, you're looking at about $114. I am going to be sending one of the seats. I don't know if it's the one that came on the bike or this brand new one. Doesn't really matter. They're the same seat. Sending one to this gentleman, Bolts and Volts, who did the custom seat for Pat Outdoors as well as Voltron Watts. And he is going to be doing a custom black and white gripper seat with Humble Garage embroidered and an additional 1 inch of gel and foam for my bony buns. A very nice seat, but also a very expensive upgrade because, you know, $114 for an extra stock seat so I can have a seat while the guy is building my custom one. Between shipping to the gentleman who does the custom work and then his parts and labor and the seat itself, it's going to be about a $350 upgrade, but worth every damn penny, in my opinion, because a seat is a huge deal. Upgrading the seat on my E-Ride 3.0 made me feel like I had more suspension travel, made me want to do seated riding more. It increased the riding potential of that bike. The next schmodification that I will be doing to the ETM RTR is not currently out yet, but it is coming soon, and I will be coming immediately as soon as I install it on the bike. There's going to be two options for a controller. You are going to have the True Moto, which is the big boy. I'm not opting for that one because I don't need 14 kilowatts of power on this bike. And also this controller gets mounted in the back where I have a storage tray underneath my seat where I put snacks and tools and stuff. The lesser of the two, which is called a little bit or a little something something, I think it's called the little bit. That controller is going to get you up to 11 kilowatts of peak power and tons of customization through a phone app. That is going to be purchased as soon as it drops. And that'll pretty much be it. Betty White will be done build wise. I can just start enjoying it, ripping it, hopefully not crashing on it ever again. And I will be switching back and forth between the 14-inch street wheels and the stock 12-inch dirt bike knobbies, which completely changed the riding characteristics of the bike, how quick and responsive the steering is, and also what terrains you have more grip on. Obviously, the supermotos, you're going to be able to lean over really far on road and get slower road wear, less road noise, and easier to ride wheelies. And then with the dirt bike knobbies, you're going to have a ton more grip when you're off the beaten path. And they're smaller too, so I can actually throw it in the back of my tiny SUV, as opposed to when I have the 14-inch supermoto wheels on there. It's just big enough to where I can't really fit it in the back of my vehicle. I need to use one of those e-bike hitch adapters. The screws for the brake rotors come with blue Loctite. These ones do not for the sprocket, so I'm gonna add my own. Clean and grease your axle. The rear axle, which is the pre-installed one, had no grease on it. Bone dry, so it's been getting scratched. When I had the bike on the lift free spinning, I was hearing a weird noise. I didn't know if it was the rotor rubbing or what, but it's actually these little rubber niplets, these feelers, if you will, that come on new tires, which will get worn off pretty darn quickly. But the clearance, as you can see, is taut with these 14-inch supermotos to where it's pretty much almost touching the fork guard. That's a lot of meat, a lot of tire for inside them forks. Should be able to lean over nice and deep like on them sidewalls. The stock and upgraded chains are very easy to break and install because they have master links, so all you need is a pair of pliers or a screwdriver, but specialty tools are very cheap on Amazon. If you thought I was done hurting myself on this bike, you're absolutely wrong. It doesn't even have to be running for me to jack myself up. Looking like the stock motor weight is about 11.2 pounds if the scale is anything accurate. I'll be sure to toss the mod motor on the scale as well. This is what the stock motor looks like with 4 orange wires sticking out of it. Electro Co told me they did not need my motor mount, so I uninstalled those. Since I'm painting the battery covers matte white, I wanted to get off all the adhesive from the stock installed stickers, so I used some Goo Gone, and I still can't get it off. So I actually ended up paying about 30 bucks to order a second set of battery side plastics so I can paint those ones matte white. But this is a problem that could be remedied if Electro Co were to have these stickers set, the decal on a separate sheet inside the box as an included accessory, but not pre-installed on the bike, considering most of the adult riders that I know are taking the decals off because it looks more like an official dirt bike and less like a toy. Speaking of colors, I got cans for days, boy, and I'm gonna do matte white. I think it'll look really good. A practical modification that I wish was included, but you're gonna have to go to Etsy or eBay and have somebody 3D print this for you. A little storage tray for underneath the seat where you can carry your included tools, maybe a couple granola bars, or a portable air pump. As cool as this little storage modification is, the holes did not line up. I needed to do some drilling. The stock brake rotors, which are the same extras that are included whenever you buy an additional wheel set from Electro Co, had these little electric lightning bolts on them. Freaking sick. And same thing with the ultralight, which is about the third of the weight of a standard steel joint. This is like a must-have modification because there's less rotational mass. You're gonna get better, snappier response and acceleration. Installing brake rotors and sprockets on the wheels is incredibly easy. They line up, screw them on in, and do make sure you pay attention to the rotational arrows because there's a certain direction that tires are supposed to be spinning. So quite simply, not to put too blunt of a tip on it or not to bash your tits too damagedly, illuminate your face and compose your thoughts. I love the bike, even though she no runs so good or at all at the moment, but it will be running faster and slicker than ever before with the upgraded mod motor and the lightweight flywheel. Sprocket, not flywheel. Also, I believe I'm the first person to paint their battery plastics, so we'll find out if it looks sick or if it looks super shitty. If you're gonna pick up any parts or a pre-ready to rip bike from Electro Co, check out the description below where I do have an exclusive discount for my audience, and I recently opened a merchandise shop. It's a little shack on the side of the road with me swinging shirts over my head.